Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tim Dillon Show from our uh, temporary studio here for 1 week here in Miami at the Move, whatever it is. What's it called?
The Move Miami.
The Move Miami. So if you are a creator in Miami, God only knows what that means. If you are a creator here in Miami, and you want to come use a studio, this is a great studio. If you are an OnlyFans chick who wants to start a podcast because people really enjoy your personality, or if you're a struggling rapper and you want to start building your brand, or whatever the case may be, come on down here to the Move and get yourself on camera because people are waiting to hear from you. That's the whole thing now. Don't you realize that people are, you need to be heard from. That's what's happening. Where's Miami at? That's what we're all thinking. Where are they at? I've been thinking a lot recently about the Mamdani win in New York City because all of the people that I talk to in Florida are like, everybody's coming to Florida. And I don't know if that's true. I don't think it is. I talk to realtors in New York. Contracts are up in New York City. They're going crazy in the Hamptons, meaning people are still buying real estate in New York. This idea that everybody's going to come down to a phone party with Marco Rubio and plot the Venezuela invasion while railing lines of coke off someone's cock, which, though it sounds nice, isn't the best foreign policy. The idea that people are going to just do that because we elected bin Laden in New York doesn't necessarily ring true. I think there's going to be people are going to have to get a little wet on the subway first. Got to be a couple of stabbings, a couple of shootings, couple of stickings. You're not just going to pick up and head down to Miami unless someone gets slashed. People used to get slashed all the time in New York. If slashing comes back, the thing about a good slashing is you wear the scar. So it comes up. It's not like just a mugging or something that you can forget or you lost money on Bitcoin or whatever. This is like an actual scar. You show up to a place and people are horrified by the gash in your face. If that starts happening on the subway again, you could see a world in which people come down here to Miami to hang out with Marco Rubio and the people that want to invade Venezuela. Whatever Venezuelan expats he met down here in Miami that think we need to be there in Venezuela, invading Venezuela, which is, of course, insane. But I was thinking about it, the New York affordability, and I was thinking about why it is so expensive to live in New York. It's always been expensive, but why it's gotten so absurd. Why has it become so ridiculous? And I think part of it, and if I was somebody who is the mayor of New York City, and get the average condo price up right now in New York, get the average one-bedroom rent, and get the average condo price. The average price to buy in New York City, all of New York City, not just Manhattan. We're talking about the 5 boroughs of New York City. We got to do New York. We don't want Manhattan. We want the average condo price in New York City. That's 5 boroughs. It's not just Manhattan. And that's going to, I don't know what that number is. I know in Manhattan it's around $2 million, $2.6 million or something silly. You don't have to live in Manhattan, okay? I don't know that they have that number. Do they not have that number? They keep showing us Manhattan. But I'm wondering if there's an average what about average 1-bedroom rent in New York City? We know that the median condo price in Manhattan is about $1 million. That's the middle of the market. And the average condo price is about 2.5. So the average rent for a 1-bedroom apartment in New York City is around $4,450 a month. $4,450 a month. Okay? That is psychotic. Now it varies a little bit. Some people are saying it's closer to 35 and some people are saying 42. neighborhood apartment size amenities can cause these averages to fluctuate. But that's what you're paying for a 1-bedroom apartment in New York City. Now, that is not a large apartment. You know, in most cases, it is a entry-level 1-bedroom apartment. You cannot have a guest. You cannot have friends over for dinner. You really can't raise a child in a 1-bedroom apartment. I know some people are going to say, well, I've raised that kid. Okay, it can be done. Anything can be done. You can raise people in a hut. But this is an incredibly expensive 1-bedroom apartment. Now I want you to get up this. I want you to find the statistic for how much real estate in New York is owned by foreign nationals. I want you to look at that by percentage. I want you to look at it by percentage. I wonder if they're going to have that. How much real estate in New York City is owned by foreign nationals, meaning people that do not live in America? Okay. So here's our AI overview. Okay. It says, while it is difficult to pinpoint an exact percentage, recent estimates suggest foreign nationals own a small fraction of New York's real estate, with foreign buyers accounting for about 7% of all residential purchases in the state and about 27% of all real estate value. So number one, that's not small. 30% is absolutely not small. The percentage of value that they own. And I believe it's much higher than 7% because I don't think this is taking into account shell corporations where you cannot trace who owns the property. One of the big reasons that New York City is not affordable is because New York City, like other cities, has become a vertical money laundering scheme. And there are people that are buying real estate in New York for the sole purpose of laundering money, to get it out of the country that they live or to wash it in New York City real estate because they earned it smuggling drugs, arms, children, women, people across borders. And the way to wash that money is to buy real estate in New York City under a shell corporation, an LLC, and disguise the ownership interest in it. And if you own real estate in New York, you have number one, it's a good investment because the city it has the largest gross domestic product of any city in the United States. Second only, it flips with Tokyo usually for the number one in the world. So it's a thriving economy. People are always going to want to live in New York. And you can always rent real estate if you own it in New York City, and usually for a high value. But a lot of these people are not renting. They're not renting. They're owning these condos because they don't want their money to be taxed or in a bank account where they live. Now you can get up Shell Corp, start looking this stuff up. Shell Corp owners in New York City. This is the biggest problem that we have. This is a problem that I don't think Mamdani will do anything about this, okay? I don't think he will do anything about all of the different ways you can purchase a real estate. Right, new data, this is from September of 2023, 37% of Manhattan properties owned by secretive LLC shell companies. 37%. Now we're finding the real number. They said 7%. It's actually a relatively small fraction. Now we're seeing what it really is. 37% of properties in Manhattan, no one knows who the fuck owns them. That's 40% of the city. No one has any clue who owns them because they're owned by secretive shell corporations. Now, you might say, for example, why would people buy with a secretive corporation? Is there any logical reason for it? Yes, I've done it because you want privacy. I don't want people showing up to my house trying to kill me because they found out so people that are known people, use shell corporations? Absolutely, because they don't want people to know where they live. I'm one of those people. I don't want you to know where I live. You're all crazy. And if you're all not crazy, if one of you is crazy, that's enough. So I don't want you to know where I live. If I was a regular person, a finance person, and I made money and nobody knew who I was, I wouldn't care. So there's a legitimate reason to use a shell code. Now, if you were really determined to kill me, you could come kill me wherever because I advertise where I'm going to be publicly. But there's a lot of people, whatever degree of privacy they're looking for, you have a shell corp. But most of this isn't that. That might account for 0.5% of the 37%, maybe 0.25%. The vast majority of these people, okay, are trying to hide the fact that they own property in New York. A lot of this property is empty. Why in New York City do you walk down a street like Billionaires Row and there's no lights on any of the buildings? Because no one lives there. They don't rent any of these properties out. All of these properties are essentially banks. They're a store of value for somebody's money, and it's usually ill-gotten gains. A lot of it's illegal money. Some of it isn't. But who does that help? It's a great question. Who does it help if billionaires from all over the world just buy real estate in New York City? Well, Michael Bloomberg, billionaire who ran New York City, was quoted as saying, "We want all the world's billionaires." Why wouldn't we want the richest people in the world to launder their money in New York? After all, maybe they'll spend a week or two a year in New York City. They'll go to a restaurant or two. Maybe they'll stash their kid at NYU or Columbia. Why wouldn't we want that? It's a global city. It's part of New York City's character. Why wouldn't we want the wealthiest people in the world to use New York City as a vertical money laundering scheme where they purchase large amounts of real estate and drive the cost of real estate up for people that actually live in New York, people that actually live there? But this, again, is the promise of globalization. This is the great promise of globalization, that money can cross borders, people can cross borders. You have an endless supply of labor if you want. You have an endless supply of capital. It can go all over the world. It's a free market. Everything's free. There's no tariffs. Goods are moving, services, people. Why shouldn't people be able to come into a city, buy all the real estate, make all the buildings empty, and then drive the cost up so that no one can afford to live there? It's a great idea. This was the idea that we all grew up with. The magical idea of globalization. The magical idea that the entire world was going to be flat, like Thomas Friedman said at the New York Times, everybody was going to be happy. And there's not going to be any more wars. There won't be wars anymore because we're going to live in a globalized, interconnected world where, because of the internet, everybody's going to be able to fight it out online. So there'll be no more wars. Well, how'd that work out? How'd that work out for everybody in Gaza? Do they feel like there's no more wars? But this was the promise of the global system. The idea that we had to take in people, and Trump's even saying now we have to do, from China, the H-1B visas. They got to come in. We got to have people come in from India because we don't have those skills in America. Well, whose idea was it to not build those skills in America? Whose idea was it to bring people in from China and India that can do the tech jobs that we're not training Americans to do? I had an argument with my aunt this summer about immigration. And I said, well, legal immigration also is something that should be regulated and maybe curtailed. And she goes, well, who's going to be your doctor? She goes, my doctor's from Pakistan. Are we importing all of our doctors from Pakistan? Does that make any sense to anyone that in the United States of America, we somehow are not creating doctors? We're not training people that grew up here to be doctors, and we're bringing people in from Pakistan to be... Isn't Pakistan a dysfunctional society, to be quite honest? Is the idea that the United States of America, that every one of our children wants to flick their bean on OnlyFans and instead of becoming a doctor, and that we have to bring in doctors from Pakistan, a country that we suspected that was harboring the fugitives from 9/11? Does that make any sense to anybody? It does to Jennifer Welch. It does to a lot of these like wine mom drunk white liberals that think it's so great. They love, as brilliant Rachel Feinstein, the comedian, says, like her mother likes pronouncing the names in the back of a taxi. But does this make any sense to anybody? And my aunt says this sitting on my couch. She has children. Some of them are doing great. Others are getting by. They're doing fine. They're not bad people. But they're not killing it. They're not crushing it. And she's excited about bringing in doctors from Pakistan. That's what boomers would rather do. Boomers would rather bring in doctors from Pakistan while their own children die on the street. That is generally what they would rather do. To prove the point that they are good people, they would rather bring in doctors from war-torn third world countries than try to figure out how to get people in the United States of America to be doctors. It's the craziest thing I've ever heard. This is the craziest way to run a society. To let Chinese amusement park tycoons and Russian fertilizer magnates buy $20 million fake apartments all over New York City, drive $400,000 a year lawyers out because they can't afford it, and then tell everyone else to go fuck themselves and then wonder why Mamdani got elected? Does anyone? And then wonder why this guy got elected? This is the craziest way to run a society. And then to say that, oh, there's jobs in tech. They're the only jobs left, by the way. These jobs in tech are not like, they're it. No matter what kind of company you own, it'll be a tech company eventually because everything's going to have a strong digital component. Most of it already does. So you're going, well, we need to bring in these people from China and India on H-1B visas because we don't have that pool of talent in America. Well, shouldn't we be building it? Shouldn't we be building that pool of talent in America if these are some of the only jobs? Let's look at Trump here. And I do think, unfortunately, this kind of is the end of, and I say unfortunately, not because I care, truly, but I say unfortunately because it seems to not be doing anything good for anyone. This is the end of the Trump administration. This is the beginning of the lame duck presidency. It's obvious to everyone, even his most ardent supporters show up to the White House, like Laura Ingraham, and she's kind of shocked on what the hell's going on. Now we'll start, 3 years of talking about the ballroom. He will trail off. He will get older. He's adorned the White House in gold. Epstein's going to suck the oxygen out of a lot of this. We're going to talk about that a little later on. Apparently AI, by the way, the only thing I'm sure of about AI, I'm not an expert, is that AI, as soon as we have robots running around this country, they'll all be pedophiles too. There's no one in power that will apparently just not be a pedophile. All these robots will be pedophiles. 100% will deal with pedophile robots. Our first robot president will be a pedophile. I know that. It's the only thing I know. Our first AI robot president will absolutely be a pedophile. Here's Laura Ingraham discussing the H-1B with Trump.
This idea of hundreds of thousands of foreign students in the United States. We have about 350,000 Chinese. One point during COVID, you were going to, push to, get them out, but that was pulled back. You've said as many as 600,000 Chinese students could come to the United States. Why, sir, is that a pro-MAGA position when so many American kids want to go to school and there are places not for them and these universities are getting rich off Chinese money?
Sure. Never said about China, but we do have a lot of people coming in from China. We always have, China and other countries. We also have a massive system of colleges and universities. And if we were to cut that in half, which perhaps makes some people happy, you would have half the colleges in the United States go out of business.
So what?
Well, I think that's a big deal.
Are they fans?
You would have the
historically, the United States?
Yeah, but you would have, as you know, historically black colleges and universities would all be out of business. You would have a
because of Chinese. Hold on, stop this for a second. He's arguing that HSBC's historical black colleges will go out of business if Chinese students can't go there. This is the craziest argument I've ever. Can you imagine Chinese kids coming over to go to the black college? Do you imagine how nuts their parents would go? You go where? Like, can you imagine the Chinese students coming here to go to the black college? Does anyone believe that? Does anyone believe that we're letting 400,000 Chinese students in so that they can keep black colleges going? I mean, how stupid do they think we all are? It's really getting to a point where it's kind of insane. Is that where the Chinese students are going to come in here to go to Howard? Is that what the Chinese students are doing? They're keeping black colleges going? That's the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. Keep going here.
Universities would
So
go
we're
down the
dependent on
tubes.
China to keep
No,
our
not
university
China,
system going?
but I think it's good to have, I actually think it's good to have outside countries. Look, I want to be able to get along with the world.
They're not the French. They're the Chinese. They spy on us. They steal our intellectual property.
What, do you think the French are better?
Yeah.
I mean, really? I don't know. I'll tell you, I'm not so sure. We've had a lot of problems with the French where we get taxed very unfairly on our technology, where, you know, they put 25% taxes on.
So basically what we're finding out here is that the tech people that gave him a lot of money are now demanding that they said, we're not going to be able to compete with China in this AI sphere unless we are bringing in Chinese students, Indian students to do these jobs. You know, we don't have that pool of talent here. We don't have that skill set, and we need it. And sorry, I know you ran on this whole platform of like, what's good for America or good for American students. But here's the reality. We don't give a shit about any of that because none of this was ever about America to the tech people, which we knew, by the way. They go, none of this was really about America. It was about creating this thing we're doing as quickly as possible before anyone notices. We need to give birth to this thing before anyone notices. We're giving birth to a demon, and we'd like to do it quickly and quietly. Bring in the Chinese and the Indian students to help us give birth to this demon quickly and quietly so it can eat all life on Earth. And we don't want to be questioned. We can't have fat people from Texas giving birth to this demon. Their fat little fingers are too big. We need Indians and Chinese quietly giving birth to this AI demon so that we can pledge our loyalty to it and it can run our lives. That's kind of what is, by the way, that's literally what is happening. And they say that probably they may not use the word demon, give them the benefit of the doubt, but that's what they want. It's artificial life created and invested with an insane amount of power, and all of these people just want it here. It's already kind of here. They want it here more than it is right now, because if not, China will get it. So fine. And by the way, we discuss this a lot. I don't know that there is an alternative. And certainly, even if there is, no one's entertaining it. And I have no power here sitting at this desk. So what's coming is coming is coming is coming. And what's coming is an AI demon that is going to be birthed by this administration. They're going to birth an AI demon. And in order to do that, that's really what it is. That's what they may call it a god. They may call it a god. I look at the people creating it. I choose to call it a demon. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. One man's God's another man's demon. But at the end of the day, this is what they want to do. They want to give birth to the most powerful technology that has ever existed on Earth. Let me tell you right now, there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about Ethos. It is an online platform that makes getting life insurance fast and easy. To protect your family's future in minutes, there's no complicated process. It's 100% online. No medical exam required. You just answer a few health questions, get a quote in as little as 10 minutes. You can get same-day coverage without ever leaving your house. You can get up to $3 million in coverage. Some policies as low as $2 a day billed monthly. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/TIM. That's ethos.com/TIM. Application times may vary. Rates may vary. They don't care about Trump, God bless him, he's trying to do this thing about the American college system and the schools. How is the college system's kind of already done? It's already done. The height of colleges, okay, was from that movie Animal House to around probably 2019, the first year that people graduated with all this debt and they were told immediately to go fuck themselves. That was when college ended. College ended when people left college with all this debt and a degree and went, what do I do now? And they go, you tend bar. You actually do what you did in college. Here's the good news. You know that side job you had in college? That's your real job now. That's when college ended. College is just, now it's just a place to go and socialize and have fun and go to parties and get laid and whatever. It's no longer preparing you for the world. It's doing the exact opposite. It's miring you in debt, getting you to develop a substance abuse problem and sending you out into the world completely clueless. And the idea that anyone is keeping that system going, okay? Anyone. I mean, people graduated. The average college debt in America is approximately 30 grand with an undergraduate degree, with the average federal student loan debt around $40,000. However, this number varies significantly based on factors like the type of institution, Graduate students typically carry much higher debt, around $100,000 on average. A lot of people that I know, and by the way, if you're in $40,000, $60,000, $80,000 worth of debt, it's a lot of debt. It's a lot of debt, even with a good job, and a lot of these people have no jobs. So this whole entire university system, which again, I didn't go to college. I regret it. Well, no, I don't regret it per se, but like it's something I look back on and I would say it's a regret. I would have been a different person. I wouldn't have been a comedian. I wouldn't have done this. I would have went to college and my life would have been different because that's the way lives work. By the way, if you do one thing, you go this way. If you do another thing, you go that way. Most people will tell you that's at you. No, you always get where you're going. No, you don't. No, you don't. Actually, you don't. There's paths. You choose one. I chose one that didn't involve college. The loser I would have been had I gone to college, I can't even imagine it. That being said, I do hear the stories from college. I visited people at college. I do kind of regret not being part of it. It's a part of Americana that I can't really comment on with the authority that I comment on other things. You know what I mean? Like being an influential multimillionaire, something like that, like things that I kind of know. But I will say about college that people have a good time and they leave and they get a job and they're supposed to then be good. That's the promise of college. You do your 4 years and then you're good. Not great, maybe not great, but good. Now these people graduate college and there is nothing for them to do. There is nothing for them to do except go to New York City, go to the Mamdani rally and throw on the burqa. And I don't think that's a great testament for how well this college system is working out for anyone. I mean, the best case, what are people that graduate college even do now, a lot of them? I don't even know what they do. What are your friends doing that graduated college? What are they doing?
Working at a coffee shop.
Truly.
Yeah.
Truly. Isn't that amazing? We don't have enough wars anymore. Sure, if we could ship them all to the Ukraine and kill them, that's one thing. But they're here, they're around us, and they're angry. And this is part of the problem. And we're bringing in more people. We're bringing in more people to do the jobs that you would think college-educated people could do. We're still telling people the biggest lie in the world, do what you love what you do. What makes you happy? Are you happy? Are you happy? What are you doing? You got to do what you love. What are you interested in? Somebody messaged me the other day. They're like, I don't know if I should do like more tech stuff or history. I've got a passion for history. And I go, you should take your life. You should go to a national park and sacrifice yourself to the AI demon that Peter Thiel is creating. Why waste your time and my time with these questions? But this is what I mean. So we have the president of the United States going, we need Chinese and Indian people so that our college system doesn't collapse. Our college system, which is one of the single biggest reasons people are in debt. Because 30 or 40 years ago, we said, by the way, don't be a plumber and don't own a plumbing company because then your ass crack's going to show. Don't be an exterminator. Don't be a union guy. Don't be a tradesman, even though women like to fuck those people, by the way. So do men. So does everyone. But don't be one of those people. Be a weird dilettante. Be somebody who hovers around the arts, work in some creative adjacent media field that's meaningless horseshit garbage. Go sit in a room at Vice while they do documentaries about like what happened to the fucking animals that, survived the fucking, 3 Mile Island or whatever fucking Chernobyl. They're doing documentaries in old, Chernobyl theme parks at Vice. And apparently all of the people that lived in that world, consultants and executives and all this bullshit that all these people wanted to be, they wanted to sit somewhere in an air-conditioned room and pop off and have an opinion. All of these people are loaded with student loan debt, and they're in deep trouble. They're in deep trouble. And the good news is now we're bringing in the Chinese to deal with them. That's the final step, by the way. The final step for these people, okay? The final indignity, it's like the scene in the movie when the hand there's two hands gripping the edge of the building and one goes. The final hand that only has 3 fingers clawing for life, the final indignity will be the Chinese coming in and stepping on your fingers, and you're out. And the president of the United States telling you it's necessary to keep our college system going. We need more Chinese people in the colleges because you people are doing so well. You need a little competition. We need a little competition. It's bringing the Chinese. We're going to bring in the Chinese. And Laura Ingraham rightly goes, well, wait a minute. Does this seem like it's a good idea? They spy on us. They're our enemy. They're this, they're that. And you go, yeah, but, I don't like the French. And it's not great. Well, this is all depressing, and I don't want to depress everybody because there is good news on the horizon. Our friend of the show, Barry Weiss, head of CBS News, wants to get rid of standards and practices for having too much power. Here's the thing you got to admire about Barry Weiss, and this is what I like about Barry Weiss. This is what I've always liked about Barry Weiss. Barry Weiss does not have time to pretend she's not doing exactly what she's doing. She doesn't have time to pretend. It's the great Bill Hicks joke where he goes, my boss says to me, Hicks, what are you doing? And he goes, there's nothing to do. And he goes, the boss goes, well, pretend you're working. And Bill Hicks goes, well, why don't you pretend I'm working? You get paid more, you fantasize. Barry Weiss is basically telling people, why don't you pretend I'm not here to destroy this whole thing? Because that's what I'm here to do. I'm not going to pretend that. I'm not pretending that. I don't have the time to pretend that I have not been sent on a mission to destroy this legacy broadcasting institution. I'm here to destroy it. I'm here to make it a vessel of state propaganda. Which state? Well, we know which state. It's not America. It's to be a vessel of state propaganda. It's all it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be anything else. And Barry Weiss, to her credit, is not pretending she's there to do anything else. She's going, why are there standards and practices? Why are they showing the Palestinian reach for the cookie when we blow their head off? Why are they doing that? Why are they asking these questions? Why are they saying this? Because Barry knows what she's there to do. You don't get to her level of success. She's a very successful person who I like. I find charming, very sweet, nice lady. But she's gotten to where she's gotten in life because she doesn't have the time to entertain a fantasy that she's doing anything else. She's very clear about what she's doing. Now, you can debate it. You can have your ideas. You can be befuddled or confused about why it's happening. And that's all your business. She's very, very much 100% on board. My job is to get rid of any independent voice at CBS. We're here to destroy the network and get rid of anybody that would stand in our way. We are here to deliver state propaganda. That's all. That's what they're there to do. And not the United States, not the United States propaganda, by the way. She is there to deliver Israeli propaganda. She knows it. We know it. Larry Ellison hired her to do it. That's okay. They've already got a blacklist of actors who will never work at Paramount. It doesn't matter. No one cares. Nobody watches any of this crap. Anyway, it's over. The robots are coming. The demon's coming. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Everybody wants to pretend like we're still living in a place that makes some sense, but it doesn't make any to anyone. It makes no sense to anyone, which is why movies don't make any sense anymore, because movies used to reflect a reality that you somehow understood. But the reality is so fractured that nobody can even understand what's happening. So Barry Weiss let's read a little bit of this article. There are growing concerns within CBS News that Barry Weiss could gut or even disband the network standards and practices team, with multiple sources telling The Independent that the new editor-in-chief has complained that the unit has too much power and she doesn't see the point of keeping it around. The internal rumblings within the CBS newsroom come as the head of standards and practices announced her resignation, and the network disbanded its vaunted race and culture unit the race and culture unit is probably nonsense. And Barry's not wrong about some of this garbage. Some of this woke horse shit that they shoehorned into these companies, this DEI crap, does have to go. 100%. 100%. The race unit, okay? But I also think that, does anyone think Larry Ellison bought CBS because he was concerned about blacks? I'm asking. Does anyone think that the Ellison family bought CBS because they were concerned about El Salvadorians not working in media? You think he's sitting down there on Palm Beach and going, I'm concerned that there's not enough Guatemalans in media? I don't think so. I don't think so. Or was he going, was he saying like, I wanna buy CBS News because I wanna make sure that people get hired based on merit. I don't want somebody that has a job at CBS thinking they just got it because of the color of their skin. That's so demoralizing. I don't want that. I hate imposter syndrome. It's my least favorite thing. So I'm going to spend billions of dollars. I'm going to buy it. And we're going to install Barry Weiss to get rid of all the DEI stuff. And as a tiny corollary that has nothing to do with anything, we might look at the Israel coverage. While we're there, we might look at the Israel coverage. It's not the focal point. But while we're there, we might just look at the Israel coverage. We might look at it. Everybody's talking to me right now about how do I scale my e-commerce business? I say, have you heard of ShipStation? They go, what is that? I said, let me tell you right now. ShipStation is the easiest way to automate shipping tasks and manage orders in one simple dashboard. They're not just printing labels, okay? They've been able to scale businesses faster because of ShipStation's robust automation and reporting. So you have all the accurate, up-to-the-moment data about your business and your deliveries. How does it feel knowing ShipStation's rate browser compares over 200 carriers to make sure you're always getting the best rates, up to 90% off? There's a reason why successful businesses use ShipStation. Customer report scaling operations up to 40 times with ShipStation. Automate your workflow, save time, reduce human error, best-in-class carrier savings, up to 90% off rates on all major global carriers. Wow your customers and get rave reviews with cheaper, faster, and better shipping. Upgrade to ShipStation today to get a 60-day free trial at ShipStation.com. Use code Tim Dillon. There's no credit card or contract required, and you can cancel anytime. That's ShipStation.com, code Tim Dillon. This podcast is brought to you in part by Stash. What if you could start investing without ever picking a single stock? With Stash, the experts handle the hard part for you. Stash isn't just another investing app. It's a registered investment advisor that combines automated investing with expert guidance. So you don't have to worry about figuring it out on your own. You can choose from personalized investments or let Stash's award-winning smart portfolio do the work for you. With Stash, investing doesn't feel like gambling. It's simple, smart, and stress-free, so your money can finally start working as hard as you do. Get access to world-class financial advice and personalized guidance for just $3 monthly subscription. Stash has already helped millions of Americans reach their financial goals. Don't let your money sit around. Put it to work with Stash. Go to get.stash.com/TIM to see how you can receive $25 towards your first stock purchase and to view important disclosures. That's get.stash.com/TAM. Paid non-client endorsement, not representative of all clients and not a guarantee. Investment advisory services offered by Stash Investments, LLC, and SEC registered investment advisor. Investing involves risk. Offer is subject to terms and conditions. Sydney Sweeney, friend of the show, did this jeans ad. And then this woman asked Sydney Sweeney about, and by the way, did you see Candace did an interview with Elle Reeve, who I did an interview with? Elle Reeve is still out there. You gotta give it to Elle Reeve. I kind of respect her. Is her last name Reeves? Elle Reeve? Elle Reeves, I kind of respect her because she always, it's like the scene in, here's the thing with Elle Reeves, it's the scene in It. Get Elle Reeves up so everybody knows. She just did an interview with Candace Owens, having done an interview months and months ago with me. Elle Reeves, who I respect, before you do an interview with Elle Reeves, what happens is, it's the scene from It where the rowboat, the paper that's made into a rowboat is sailing down the street in the water, and then it gets to that grating, and instead of a clown grabbing it, it's Elle Reeves. And she goes, I want to ask you a question. And you go, what? And she goes, that's a fun little boat. I like little boats. And you go, yeah. And she goes, does it bother you that most boats are owned by white men? And you're like, what? Elle, what are we doing? I want to ask you a question. I'm Elle Reeves. It's Elle Reeves. But another version of Elle Reeves was asking a question to Sydney Sweeney. And the question was, you did a jeans advertisement where you said Sydney Sweeney has good jeans. And people got angry about it. And Sydney Sweeney's angry. I don't even think Sydney Sweeney's that MAGA, by the way. I don't, maybe she is. I don't think she is. I think she just has a Republican family. She's probably like a normal human being that isn't a psychopath. She's an attractive woman. She's an actress. She has money. She just isn't nuts. And that doesn't mean I'll agree with her on anything or get along with her. I've never met her and I don't know anything about her. I don't care what her opinions are, truly. But she doesn't strike me as some ideologically driven person. She's probably just like, hey man, I got a gig. I got a job. I did a jeans ad. They came up with this thing. But anyway, take a look at this thing. People are mad at Sydney Sweeney for not distancing herself more from this jeans ad.
The criticism of the content, which was basically that maybe specifically in this political climate, like white people shouldn't joke about genetic superiority. Like that was kind of like the criticism, broadly speaking. And since you are talking about this, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about that specifically.
I think that when I have an issue that I want to speak about, people will hear.
Right. Now, this is a good answer because, by the way, what she was basically saying is, listen, you've created this issue, so I'm not going to speak on it. What people realize when they're in the media is that somebody like Sydney Sweeney apologizing for this ad becomes the biggest entertainment news of the week. Even though this was somewhat big news, if she apologizes, they dig in. And they dig in because none of these people actually want an apology. They want to destroy your life, your career. So Sydney Sweeney goes, hey, if I have something I want to talk about, I'll talk about it. And people got a little mad at it and they said it was tone deaf or whatever. But what they want to do is draw her into this larger conversation about ethics and, the responsibility you have a platform, and they want to do all this crap. And Sydney Sweeney just goes, listen, I'm a hot chick who's an actress. That's what I do. I got big tits. I'm an actress. I'm a good actress. That's what I am. That's what she is. She's not Condoleezza Rice. She's an actress. There's nothing wrong with it. Maybe she's smart. Maybe Jacob Elordi's a genius. I don't know. Maybe they're all geniuses over there. Maybe Zendaya's a genius. Maybe they're all geniuses on the cast of Euphoria, the set. Where if you sat on set with them for 5 minutes, you go, oh my God, they're discussing the role of nation states after the Cold War. I don't know what they're doing because they say that Sydney Sweeney and Zendaya are in bitter feud over this. But whatever, who cares? I don't even care. It doesn't matter. The point is that I Now, here's the only thing that Sydney Sweeney could have said better. I want you to play her question, and I'm going to say what Sydney Sweeney should have said. Play the question again. I'm going to tell you what Sydney Sweeney should have said. Go.
Content, which was basically that maybe specifically in this political climate, like white people shouldn't joke about genetic superiority. Like that was kind of like the criticism, broadly speaking. And since you are talking about this, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about that specifically.
Heil Hitler. That's the answer that she could have said. If Sydney Sweeney just looked at her and went, Heil Hitler. Because here's the thing, that right then and there puts the interviewer on her back immediately. If you're Sydney Sweeney and you just say, Heil Hitler, and with the dead-eyed stare that Sweeney has, she just sits there with her big tits and her leather coat, and she looks right at the interviewer's face and goes, Heil Hitler. That's what I have to say. What do you have to say about it? That, to me, makes this is a lost moment for Sydney Sweeney, in my mind. In my mind, this is a missed opportunity for Sydney Sweeney. She missed an opportunity to do something really fun, which was to just stare at the interviewer and say, Heil Hitler. That, to me, is a missed opportunity. Hopefully, going forward, if Sydney Sweeney is asked a question like this again, okay, and she has this opportunity to come in with something simple and clear. Simple and clear, where she could just look at the interviewer and go, Heil Hitler. And then she'll be asked about that. The next interviewer will go, you were asked about a controversial jeans ad in an interview recently, and your response was Heil Hitler. And then Sydney Sweeney's response should even get quicker, where it's not even a verb. She just starts going like this. She just starts doing that, doing the Hitler salute instead of the words. So this is a fun thing to do, because then they could really have nowhere to go. If Sydney Sweeney just said, I'm a Nazi, full stop. What? I did a jeans ad, I'm a Nazi. I'm a Nazi, I did a jeans ad. All of a sudden now there's no more questions to ask. It's actually interesting if she comes out and says Heil Hitler, it actually stops the issue dead in its tracks. It ends the conversation once and for all. She goes, yeah, I'm a Nazi. She goes, I'm actually not a Republican. I'm not a member of MAGA. I am a Nazi. I'm a member of the Nazi Party. And then they go, interesting. Right then and there. And then they'll bring Zendaya in and they'll go, now what's going on with you? And Zendaya will go, I don't want to be upset with her. She's a Nazi. She's a fucking Nazi. But then it's a great opportunity for her and Zendaya to can patch it up, because then Zendaya can go, you know what? I judged her for being a Nazi, but then I started hanging out with her. And I was kind of like, you know what? She's fun. She's actually a really fun Nazi. And I'm sorry that I got to set and I had all this baggage with me and this idea of what Nazis were. And then me and her were at the red carpet one day and I didn't have gum. And she walked up to me and said, are you looking for gum? And I was like, I kind of am. And she gave me some of her gum. And then she looked at me and she said, well, now you're chewing Nazi gum. And I smiled and I realized that it's also silly. Zendaya goes, it's also silly. She goes, we're actors and actresses. We don't know what we are. We're Nazis, we're communists. It doesn't matter. We're not even real. I don't even exist. Sam Altman gave birth to a demon, and that's running the whole show now. I'm not even real. That jeans ad's not even real. No one can even fit in jeans. The American public can't wear jeans anymore. They wear big diapers, and they live in their own shit. That's really what it comes down to. Nobody's wearing jeans anymore. People wear diapers and they live in their own shit. And they try to find undigested food and they eat it. And they roll around on the hot face of the earth while it's baked by the sun, waiting for Peter Thiel to summon the AI demon that Trump is bringing the Chinese students in to make. I don't get the problem here. So what? In that estimation, whether Sydney Sweeney is or isn't a Nazi doesn't seem to matter. It doesn't seem to matter. I don't think it's a huge deal. It's not a big fucking deal. African TikTok star snatched and executed by jihadists on live stream while her family watched. Here's the thing with TikTok, and I'll say it again. I'll say this thing about TikTok. I've never gotten big on TikTok. People share some of my content, but this is TikTok is rough. It is tough out there. And this star, who was from the country of what country? Mali? What country is she from? Let's find out.
Timbuktu, I think.
Is it Timbuktu? It's the Timbuktu region. It's the city of Tonka. We used to joke around, and Timbuktu meant just a faraway place. So my grandfather would be like, well, I got to pick you up from Timbuktu? Like, it's a funny thing. But I always thought, like, Timbuktu would actually be nice and calm. But apparently it's not. Mariam Cisse was shot dead in the streets by suspected members of the notorious Jama at Nasra al-Islam wal Muslimin on November 7th. I don't want to watch her death, obviously, but is there on TikTok, do we have any of this or probably not, right?
I think it got removed.
They removed it. And you know what would piss her off? It's probably her most viewed thing. There's no way it's not her most viewed thing. Well, she was a loyalist to the army, and this jihadist group was angry at the army, and she was a popular TikToker, and they just snatched her. They snatched her up. Let's see this. They snatched her up, and they then executed her in the middle of the street on TikTok. Why wouldn't we want more of this in the country? I'm asking. What could go wrong? 100% pure nicotine, always tobacco-free. Lucy breakers and nicotine pouches with an extra surprise. Each pouch holds a capsule that can be broken up to release extra flavor and hydration. Set yourself up with a subscription and have Lucy delivered straight to your door. Let's level up your nicotine routine with Lucy. Go to lucy.co/TIM and use promo code TIM, Tim, to get 20% off your first order. Lucy has a 30-day refund policy if you change your mind. Again, that's lucy.co and use code TIM to get 20% off. And here comes the fine print. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every order is age verified. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Fall always feels like a reset. Between back-to-back school, busier routines, and shorter days, finding time to cook again can be tough. That's why everyone I know, including myself, we love Factor. Their chef-prep, dietitian-approved meals make it easier to stay on track and enjoy something comforting and delicious, no matter how hectic the season gets. More variety, more meals. Support your wellness goals. Enjoy even more GLP-1 friendly meals in the new Mediterranean diet options packed with protein and good-for-you fats. Savor global flavors. From more choices to better nutrition, that's why 97% of customers say that Factor helped them live a healthier life. Feel the difference no matter your routine. I love Factor. We all love Factor. It's so easy to eat good, healthy, satisfying food inspired by chefs that you don't really have to spend hours prepping. Eat smart at factormeals.com/Tim50off and use the code Tim50off to get 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code Tim50off at factormeals.com for 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. Get delicious, ready-to-eat meals delivered with Factor. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. Bring this story up. These two kids from New Jersey, there was some terror plot. One of them is actually good looking. And they were from New Jersey, and they're two young muzzies, Muslim children, and not children, they're adults. And Tomas Khan, Jimenez Guzel, and Milo Sederat were recently arrested in connection with an alleged ISIS-inspired terror plot in Michigan. The suspects were part of a larger multi-agency investigation that led to arrests across the countries. Now, by the way, sometimes a lot of this is the FBI stoking this or who knows what this is. I'm not commenting on the actual. I'm just saying reportedly this has happened. These are kids from Montclair, New Jersey, which is not like an economically disadvantaged area. These are wealthy kids that are being radicalized on the internet, and they're planning to attack a gay club or something. And there are 2 Montclair teens arrested for alleged terror plots. So here's the reality. I mean, I don't understand the problem with bringing more people in, because here's the deal. Maybe, sure, their kids in rare instances might get radicalized to commit acts of terror, but at least they're also taking your jobs. So, I mean, it's a win-win. It's a win-win-win-win-win. Because you could be a good person. It's very easy to be a good person. You just have to give up your right to speech, to own a house, and to have a job. And to maybe not get attacked if you go out. And then you'll be a good person. It's the easiest way to be a good person now. You just got to give up any standard of living you might have had or wanted and invite people into your own country to come and maybe kill you. But here's the upside. You be a good person. You're a good person. No one will call you a name. No one will call you a name. In fact, at your funeral, they will say great things about you. They will say phenomenal things about you at your funeral once you have been killed. 2 Montclair teens arrested for alleged terror plot planned to become ISIS fighters. Let's go down here. The NYPD's Intelligence and Counterterrorism Bureau, which, by the way, Mamdani, I think is getting rid of, quietly led the investigation and arrested 2 teenagers from New Jersey with the help of the FBI. Blobbity, blobbity, blobbity. They were 2 kids. They were 19, former college athletes. They were charged with participating in an ISIS-inspired terror ring. We've started to see a steady increase in would-be foreign fighters going to 2 places, Syria and Africa. Interesting. Prosecutor said he texted, I'm actually going to go strap a bomb to my chest and go blow up the blank company headquarters. Another text said, line up 500 Jews and execute them in front of their wives and family. Another text said, support for an incredibly lethal and incredibly enduring foreign terrorist organization that has wreaked a lot of bloodshed around the world, but importantly in the United States. They're talking about, I guess, ISIS or cells or whatever. Interesting. Police said the 2 teens were connected to the same network of people in the terrorist plot in Detroit over Halloween weekend. So listen, here's the deal. I've not looked at the evidence here, so I will tell you this. I don't necessarily always trust the FBI in these matters, for sure. But I do look at the UK, and I do look at a lot of other countries in Europe, and coinciding with a massive increase in immigration, they have had more terrorist attacks and more violent crime, okay? So there might be a correlation there. Again, the fact that Turkish drug dealers are bombing car bombs in Sweden. But again, if you're Swedish and don't want that, you're a Nazi. You're a literal Nazi if you don't want a Turkish drug dealer to blow up another drug dealer's car. If you ask why Sweden became the rape capital of Europe, you're a Nazi. You're just a Nazi if you ask any of these questions, by the way. If you ask why 300 or 400 Chinese students should come in to do all the jobs that we have in the country when they're committing espionage and spying on us, and they're supposedly our greatest threat, again, you're a Nazi. So 3 men were arrested there. This is Detroit after prosecutors claimed they had accumulated an arsenal of weapons and ammunition to carry out attack. And again, I'm not saying anything good about the FBI. What I'm saying is that if you look around the world and you look at the UK and you look at all these places, there's an increase in terrorist attacks, and a lot of them are committed not by Anglicans in London. This is not a ton of like Episcopalian terrorism in London or France or the Netherlands. There's not a massive amount of Presbyterian terrorism happening that I'm seeing. I could be completely wrong. He was arrested at Newark Airport, and that's tough to get arrested at because there's always delays. Can you imagine your flight's delayed for 2 hours and then you get arrested for being a terrorist? That's terrible. Waymo driverless car in San Fran runs over and kills beloved neighborhood cat, Kit Kat, sparking community outrage. Waymos are going to start not only killing cats, but eventually people are going to die in a Waymo. People are going to die in a Waymo, and this is what it is. Let's watch this a little bit. This is sad. Obviously, Kit Kat, R.I.P. the cat, killed by a Waymo. Killed by a Waymo, Kit Kat.
I would be hoping that this whole Kit Kat thing just dies, and that's not happening. Tomorrow we'll be holding a press conference at Ronders Market, Tuesday, November 4th at noon.
Justice for Kit Kat.
My name is Jackie Fielder. I represent the Mission on the San Francisco Board of Supervisors. The Mission is where our beloved Kit Kat called home. I live around the corner from Ronders Market, where
here's what's interesting about this. San Francisco for the last decade has had people on fentanyl shitting and fucking in the street. Nobody has cared about that. People have been overdosing on the street in San Francisco literally for about a decade. People walk over dead bodies to get into Whole Foods. None of that has bothered anyone. One Waymo kills a cat, and now they're ready to go. This is amazing. A Waymo killed this cat, and all of these people she goes, we're having a press conference about this, literally 2 blocks away from where the, sad cat killing was. There are people bleeding out on the street dying. I mean, this is crazy. I'm talking about Requiem for a Dream, final scene, double penetration, ass to ass fucking to get more fent 3 blocks away from where this cat was killed, and no one blinks an eye. No one bats an eye at that, by the way, over there. But if a cat gets killed by a driverless car, then all of a sudden the tech people have too much power. Then people start asking questions. Not the surveillance technology, not Peter Thiel doing doing a musical about Satan. None of that. That doesn't get them going. It's a cat getting squashed by a Waymo. Let's watch a little bit of this.
By a Waymo. Last week, I posted about how the Waymo CEO said that society will accept a murder by a Waymo. And since the fatal hit and run of Kit Kat, Waymo has confirmed that one of its self-driving cars indeed killed Kit Kat. And Waymo tried to say that the cat jumped in front of the car when actually deeper reporting by Mission Local uncovered from witnesses that Kit Kat was actually sitting in front of the Waymo.
How funny it would be if as she's walking, a homeless guy just jumps and eats her. Like he just bites her neck and she goes down. 2 people who asked to remain anonymous said they left the bar Dalva on Monday night and saw Kit Kat sitting in front of the Waymo for about 7 seconds. The cat then walked under the Waymo and proceeded to head towards the sidewalk as the car pulled away. All right, so this is interesting. The Waymo is actually being accused of acting in a murder, like actually murdering the cat. All right, let's keep going.
Before the Waymo ran over Kit Kat's lower half of her body. And the poor thing crawled 10 feet back to the sidewalk and suffered a horrible, horrible long unaliving. AVs collect endless amounts of data on us and erode ridership from struggling transportation, public transportation, contribute to traffic congestion, and also drive harmful mining practices in the global south.
Yeah, get her out of here. Get her out of here. I can't deal with this harmful mining practice. These people want, white guilt will kill us all. It will kill us all, by the way. This will kill everyone. The idea that this woman gives a shit about a cat but doesn't comment on the overall nightmare that her city has become, this will kill us all. It's a white woman who will make excuses for why someone is shooting up in front of your kids. Always, without fail. It'll be a white woman who looks like her who will make excuses for why someone is shooting fentanyl in a Panera. Because there's a certain sickness where certain white people like to get off on explaining to their kids that other people are on drugs. And they kind of like it. They like, I know a sick fuck who lives in Venice and he goes, my son has a window right by the alley and he sees the homeless people and it's cool. It's a good experience for him to have. And I go, no, it's not. You're sick. It's actually not a good experience. But they like that. There's a certain breed of white scum that believes that homeless people are fun, teachable moments for their children. That having junkies around is fun because they get to teach compassion to their children. Now, they won't call their brother or sister they haven't talked to in 10 years, but they get to teach compassion to their children by saying, oh, that's someone who has issues. They're sick. They have a problem. This is a pathology. I'd never encountered it until I was in LA, or actually in San Francisco to the West Coast, Portland and Seattle, where people actually fetishize sick people dying on the street. And they like it. There's something about them, they like it. They like explaining it to their children, and that it shows that they're somehow good people because they urge compassion. Not everyone has a house like we do. Not everyone's lucky enough to have a house like this. So what they need is a steady stream of junk. And then there's the sick people who just light them on fire. There's a lot of like finance or tech people that probably late at night will grab these homeless people and just kill them, light them on fire, or rape them or murder them, truly, to get off. That's probably happening too, as a guess. But I think the larger problem is that you have like the white guilt brigade that's out there going, well, isn't like, I hear about this, that the kids, they have their favorite homeless person. This is how sick it is. I'm telling you right now, I've heard this in Los Angeles. People go, well, it's our unhoused neighbor and my son loves him and he always brings a little treat for my son. He always brings like a little toy for my son. And I go, how sick are you people? You know, when the Echo Park homeless encampment got busted up in LA, a homeless encampment where a woman died, OD'd on fentanyl. You know who really hated it? The community of sick people that fetishize dying homeless people. And they walked their kids around that little homeless encampment where they showed their children dying homeless people because they treated those fentanyl addicts like people in a zoo. They're disgusting and sick, and they should be sent to the Ukraine and killed. Anyway, I'm on the road, so see me if you'd like. Lots of fun dates coming up, lots of shows. We'll see you in Fort Lauderdale this weekend. It's sold out, all except for one. Chicago's sold out. We've added a show. We will see you in Fort Lauderdale, in Schaumburg, Illinois, in San Jose, California, in Salt Lake City, Utah. We'll see you in Brea, California. We'll see you in Denver, Colorado. We'll see you in Houston, Texas. We're figuring out a few other dates for the winter as well. And then we're going to take some time off the road and really try to get this hour together. We'll launch a theater tour down the road, but we're also taking a break to work on this film that we're all very excited about, Joker 3. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you for listening. And go take your kids today and find your favorite homeless person and have your kid give that homeless person a treat, because you are a sick fuck and you are destroying the world. Have a great night.